think the State of the Union, Kieran, started out with some things that we all agree on: investments in infrastructure, making sure that we address our fentanyl crisis that's happening in this country. Let's try to bring down the prices of prescription drugs. But from there, I got to tell you, what I can't walk away from, what I can't stop thinking about, is some of the things the president said that I think were just disingenuous, suggesting that Congress is the one that needs to act on the southern border whenever these are entirely self-imposed problems that this president has caused. What we've seen with fentanyl, that crisis once again, these drugs are coming across our southern border after being manufactured in China. They're the ones who can act. Take the advice of your own border agents that are saying we've got to go back to the policies of the previous administration. And even on things like energy, I think it was just disingenuous to hear the president talking about things like we've got to work to secure an American supply chain whenever this president's actions have forced us to become more dependent upon foreign energy sources. You know, I don't know if that was a Freudian slip. The reality is, even the Biden administration, even the Biden administration's Energy Information Agency has released data showing that that oil and gas is going to be needed not for 10 years, but for decades. There are various studies, numerous studies that show that, you know, the place where you can get it with the lowest emissions per barrel, the lowest emissions per cubic foot of gas, that would be off the coast of Louisiana on our outer continental shelf. So to see this disconnect in energy policy out of this administration, talking about emissions reduction, talking about climate change, yet their very policies are the ones that are resulting in our increased dependence upon foreign energy and increased energy emissions. It simply is either scary because they don't know what they're talking about, or it's scary because they're not being truthful. Chinese balloon was look. I want to be really fair here. There is a lot of about the Chinese balloon that probably is classified information. Perhaps we're trying to collect intel on what type of communications they're actually using. Maybe we wanted to watch and see what areas they were flying over. But it's really hard to look at that and describe it anything other than a failure. They watched this come across the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. Why in the world did you not take it down then? Once again, Montana, great state, but lots of rural areas. We could have taken it down there. Questions along the lines of why we didn't put smaller holes in the balloon and allow for a more controlled descend to where you didn't actually damage it, or the damage to that device would have been minimal, or we could have collected more information about exactly what types of sensors, cameras, and other things they were detecting, or excuse me, they were using to spy on the United States. So it's really hard to look at it and think that this wasn't a failure, but I'm trying to let the jury stay out and make sure that we do have the opportunity to have a classified brief to understand what might be behind the veil on this. Windfall elimination and government pension offset, really excited because our bill has been filed for less than 1 week. It's HR 82, and in less than 1 month. And in less than 1 month, we already have 128 co-sponsors on our bill. Kieran, you and I have talked about this in the past. We're not stopping this fight. This is a monumental battle that's been going on for over 40 years. I have already had 2 meetings with the new tax chairman, the Ways and Means chairman, to talk about this. In fact, I was emailing with his staff today on this. I made it crystal clear we're not backing down. We're not going to stop this fight. We're going to keep running up our number of co-sponsors. Bipartisan co-sponsors from all 50 states have been supportive of this bill in the past, and we're going to keep showing that incredible show of strength. Look, what I think is most important is that we've got to build our relationship on trust, and that means local, state, and federal government together. There are a lot of things we disagree on, but the reality is the majority of things we do agree on. We need safer communities and safer streets. We need to make sure that our kids get the best education. We've got to address our traffic crisis. our border crisis, our fentanyl and opioid crisis. Look, these are all things we agree on. We've got to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, make healthcare more affordable. We can fight on a lot of things, and I'm going to say it again. There are a lot of things we disagree on, but the way that you build relationships is you first start focusing on those things you agree on, you develop relationships with people, you build trust, and then you start working on the more complicated issues. But I think the approach that you see in politics today is that you focus on the most divisive things, the most radioactive things, and it doesn't end up yielding the outcome or results that people in South Louisiana, the people in America deserve. Hey, thanks for your questions. Kieran, if you weren't clear, if you asked which year, if you asked timing or something, I could have answered, but it was really a confusing question. It wasn't well worded.